There are two camps in the gaming community you might not know about. The paint huffers
Bingo.
and the purists.
Gordon.
Now what in the world does that mean to you and me? What side are you on, if any at all? Well, we're going to talk about it, starting with both extremes. Dread it, run from it, it arrives all the same. Yellow paint. I know kids, you might want to cover your eyes for this next part. We've all seen it, the yellow paint strikes again. Minor ledge, painted, boxes painted, yellow tape, yellow ribbons, yellow rope, yellow rocks.
Is there yellow paint? Does the game have yellow paint? The game has yellow paint!
Holy moly, who's painting all this stuff and can they calm it down? Guys, I think just maybe I can break this crate because there might be something inside. I don't know though, I'm just looking for a tooltip menu to tell me. Oh, there's one right now, press F. Enough joking around for now, but it's a tired, overused trope. And instead of consistently going over the worst examples we've all seen already, I want to take a more critical eye to it. An analyzation of why this yellow paint phenomena is overused. Because a common idea that gets tossed around is that it is for dumb people, for the DSPs of the world. The dad gamer that just came home from his 9 to 5 at McDonald's since groceries are $900 a chip. And yes, there are plenty of dumb people in gaming. I already made that joke, but is that really all there is to it? That people are just too dumb, so we gotta put everything in high contrast colors? Every interactable, even if it has a clear button context to it? No, it doesn't. This has only cropped up in the last couple years because of something far more annoying than dumb people. Far worse than tourists in the hobby that want their movie games. Can you guess what it is? That's right, Michael Jordan Chaos in the Windy City for the SNES. Actually, it's just lazy SNES.
Oh, brother!
Laziness on the developer's parts. Because if you actually think about it, and let's imagine that you're a dev. You bring in your playtesters. You have a beta you just put out and observe people playing your game. They don't see or understand that they can break a box, or that a ledge in this hyper-realistic 6 million polygon game doesn't even look like something you can interact with. What's your first reaction? Player after player gets stuck, gets lost, is unmotivated to do something seemingly obvious. Yeah, let's put some high contrast paint on it. Problem solved. Well, okay. That fixed the issue of seeing it, I suppose, but is it teaching the player anything? Is it teaching a player for the future to think for himself properly? Is it even fun? What now, a whole game system all the way up until the very end of the game is now painted yellow? Does the yellow paint even make sense in the world of your game? I swear they don't even bring in playtesters anymore for some of these games. They just put the paint down in a linear game and just set you loose. It's just lazy. It's a patchwork job, but only a symptom of the greater problem. With RE4 Remake, one of the worst offenders, it's everywhere. Hours and hours in, too. They'll slather a crate with it, then these vases in the dark get nothing on them? It's not even consistent with its own nonsense. Another downright painful example is Metro 2033. You'd think it's a game about being in a tunnel. Only one way to go. It's a linear game. Yet they still consistently thought it was a great idea to force the player to follow a slow character, unable to move past them for hours on end. A place I always enjoy looking for game development information and developer commentaries are Valve games. Let's even look at Half-Life Episode 2. Valve has been making games for like an eternity at this point, and let's listen to even with all this time, they still have to change large factors of the game to make sense to players.
Starting Episode 2 in the crashed train has several purposes. From a story point of view, it establishes continuity with the end of Episode 1. But from a gameplay perspective, it allows players to reacquaint themselves with the basic movement controls in a safe, contained environment. Our earliest design had the player scrambling out of the wreck high above the canyon and forced them to make some precarious jumps to get to ground level. After seeing most playtesters fall to their deaths numerous times in the first 5 minutes of gameplay, we optimized for perceived rather than actual danger.
They had to change the level. They didn't just slap yellow paint on it and clock out of work or just to outsource it. And another one I'd share with you, but the stupid Vortigaunt wouldn't shut up. Alex Vance. But this part right here, where Alex gets stabbed by a hunter, actually didn't happen in the early versions of the game. She was supposed to fall and be in a coma from the train section. They also didn't have a good intro for the hunters yet, and hit two birds with one stone. It made sense narratively, with urgency and anger given to the player, and gameplay by introducing one of the deadly and fun enemies to fight. Actually, let's just yellow paint it. I don't know, who cares? One more short one and I swear we'll move on with the other end of the spectrum.
In early tests, playtesters didn't realize that antlion grubs drop health nuggets, since they tended to pick up the nuggets by accident after squishing the grubs. In order to showcase the feature, we placed a grub on the far side of this webbing. When a player breaks the web, they squish the grub and send the nugget rolling. Most players chase the nugget and naturally understand how to exploit grubs in the future.
Sometimes, even in an action game, it can be hard to convince players to act like an action movie hero. Here we wanted the player to make a 150-foot turbo jump off the edge of the road and crash into boxes at the bottom. Instead, wary playtesters routinely took the safe way down. To encourage more recklessly heroic behavior, we disguised the easy path and added obvious ramps to clearly communicate this was a legitimate feature of the level.
You have the
So we can see the symptom of yellow paint is majorly on the developer's part. I'd say like 75%, the paint huffers are still a problem. Now let's look at the other extreme. This is a lot more complex to talk about, and when the yellow paint side is just lazy, here's yellow paint. The purists, the kind of people that come into the comment sections and do drive-by comment with a 50-round mag Uzi suppressor. Hey, you're so Reddit and dumb. I figured it out on my first try. You pleb have no concept of realism and intellect in games. I have 1,000 hours in Carol Vortiman's Sudoku for the PS2. Okay, that's well and dandy and all. I'm glad there are complex games for people who want them. I'm glad there's so many different games out there for all of us to enjoy. Not hating on puzzle game people or even the people who min-max everything and then tell you you're bad. I get irritated too when my friends don't know how to create a variant of a custom unit in Hearts of Iron 4 so we could properly invade Equestria. Send the nukes. People even defend Dwarf Fortress's UI. On the Steam version too. Or Caves of Quid. I like Caves of Quid, but does it make any sense? Not even a little bit. I know all of you, a lot of people saw Seth Zintak's video and then are like, oh, let me give this game a try, and you get hit with like a brick in the shape of a graphing calculator. Let's first look at a great example of freedom and excellent telegraphing of game direction. Amnesia the Bunker. It is such an amazing game, just as short as our bad example next. A game that respects the player while still allowing them to relay information to you naturally. The game basically throws you in a bunker and says, find a way out. Going down one of the many hallways, you'll run into a security lockdown door. They're everywhere. They hinder a majority of your progress. But thank goodness there's a valve here too. Oh. Well, I guess I need to look for a valve. How do I get one of those? Probably in the storage room. The doors are locked. I could burn them down or blow them away, but that would be dangerous. I take the vent with the slightly ajar grate with the physics system that was relayed to me from a picture in the notes talking about something in the vents. In this room, you find the valve, but it's locked. All these lockers have codes on them and names, and there's very valuable items inside that I'd want. Within this room, there's a dead soldier with his dog tag. Flipping it over, you can see a code for the locker, A. Fortin. Even though it's not the code you need, you now know you probably should find dead soldiers' dog tags. Excellently done. Not a single word said, not a single yellow paint, no audio logs. Masterclass. The game is full of great stuff like that. This is how simple context clues teach a player without them even knowing it. The game is not perfect, I'll be the first to say it. It's not really scary, the monster is the worst part of it, and the story is just kind of serviceable, kind of predictable. It's one thing to do this, another to throw someone in the deep end of the pool and scream realism when they struggle to breathe. Just because someone figures out to doggy paddle doesn't mean it's fun or healthy for them.
Where you'd be sitting in a design review and somebody'd say, that's not realistic. And you're like, okay, what does that have to, like, explain to me why that's interesting, because in the real world, I have to write up lists of stuff I have to go to the grocery store to buy. And I've never thought to myself that realism is fun. I go play games to have fun.
But there's an entirely different side of the spectrum of yellow paint that have an army of defenders. And I've had firsthand experience, and still do, on the daily. Because I did not correctly figure out a puzzle, or I said it was challenging, even though I finished it in maybe a minute, because I didn't correctly figure out a puzzle, I've had nasty comments that I never delete, by the way, except for the ones that tell me to myself, and I've gotten really nasty emails on top of it. That game being Routine. It's probably one of the greatest examples of needlessly confusing the player in place of what is deemed as realism. Realism. You probably are like, why are you talking about this game again? Well, it's kind of the inspiration behind this video, and I'll explain a little more later. Let's take a look at our first example though. You need to get into the crew's quarters, but the system is down for the door console. With the notes there, you do a diagnostic on the system, and you are led to take a look at the errors found. That would be the realistic thing to do. As someone who builds computers, that's what I assume. Check the BIOS, is it posting? What code is the motherboard throwing out? So the codes here say E01 and S01. The first being critical system failure, the next being system reboot required. So in looking at it from here, from the environment, how much you deduce rebooting the system? The wires, probably, right? A clear environmental detail that is very obviously placed there. Actually, no, not the wires. But perhaps it was leading me in the right direction. The moment you follow the wires, this little dude that has helped you out on the small section above, just the same with computers, is laying right there. No, you can't touch him, you can't do anything with him, it's completely environmental. These little robot guys have helped before. It's not in the dark because you don't have a flashlight, but you actually do only when the game decides so. And it's not that way either. It's actually the switch right beneath it. If you had absolutely no clue how to play a board game and never given instructions, is it realistic because you need to figure out the complexity of Catan yourself? One other aspect I was heavily criticized about were the vents. Vents that through 3 hours of the beginning have been shown to have large red buttons on the inside to open them. But how did that teach me? That for later I needed to find a way inside the vent to open it from the inside. But the ones later on are doggy door style. This is just backwards game design. And a lot of people like to harp on that these games are made by a few people. So does that mean criticism is meaningless? Know what else was made by a few people? Hollow Knight and Silk Song, Minecraft, Stardew Valley. Can't even say it's the graphics because Bright Memory has graphics. Terrible game though. You put a chessboard in front of somebody who's never seen one in their lives and say, figure it out. Is there even a chance they would ever figure out the real game of chess? I know I'm in the minority of this. I beat the game. Dude, some people didn't even get the interface module, by the way. I'm actually a bit vindicated that some of the issues I had found confusing with the game were actually bugs that were fixed. I didn't know that the security system, you can accidentally downgrade it. I know some of you are probably like, why in the world are you talking about this game again? Why? Well, every day I'll get a comment after comment that don't offer counter arguments. And none of them are beyond, you are dumb, give up on your living permit. There are some honest critiques in there. You are entirely free to disagree with me, but eliminating any criticism for a game's design to you are just dumb solves nothing. This video is a bit all over the place because I think this side is also the same as the get good argument, where criticism of a game someone else may have liked is silenced with a worthless comment. This is heavily prevalent with any critical discussion surrounding Elden Ring when that was coming out. I do not like Elden Ring. I find it to be an amalgamation of all the aspects of Souls games that I don't like. I love the first and third games. People who rightfully criticize the roll spam, memory boss movement patterns, even when they were delayed intentionally or excessively quick, these people were like put on the stake and set on fire. "Get good and you're just bad, you're dumb" was in every comment section. So too with anything that might be convoluted or confusing. I got a comment like, what was it? It was like, comparing routine to Silent Hill 2 and being realistic and how it doesn't hold your hand. Silent Hill 2 has a map, and in the first section of the town, it blatantly plays a cutscene to follow the creature and the blood. It's a signposted section. It's as signposted as ever. People would be upset at some of the blatant signposting of Silent Hill 2. And don't get me started on the remake. You even have the blood trail that you're meant to follow. That's like following yellow paint, people.
Criticism exists to improve the product by pointing out its flaws. Now, you can disagree, you don't have to like that, but at least make some form of counter-argument, please. Again, the phrase "let people enjoy things" is so thoroughly unhelpful and constantly enables these horrible corporations to take advantage of you. And if criticism of the media that you enjoy causes you to not enjoy it, that's a you problem.
And so I leave you with this. When we rightfully clown on the gaming industry and its ugly paint, its lazy design of Skyrim-style compass and Far Cry waypoints, don't forget that there is another extreme to this. Another extreme that should be open to criticism. That games that force too much on realism and forget that they're supposed to be fun. No matter how real it is, games should be fun first and foremost. This was also a great time looking into how video games are actually made, and thinking a little deeper at the past and the future of development strategies. So I hope it was enjoyable for you. I know it was for me, because in the end, we all just want better games. Well, that's another video. I've been thinking about this one for a while. Don't worry, I'm still playing Bloodlines. Man, is that bad. Bloodlines 2, not the first. Second one is really, really bad, guys. Oh my word. It's gonna torture me to even make the video on it, because it's just, the worst sin a game could be is like boring, or a downgrade of the original. It's just such a shame. It doesn't even feel like the name belongs to it, and it really shouldn't. Anyway, I appreciate everybody for watching. I thank you for all you do, and you make me smile, and I hope I got to make you smile too. So, have a wonderful week, never give up, enjoy life. Bye.